Hey guys, it's Melanie. Welcome back. I hope your day's off to a great start. Today's video is brought to you by the random list of video ideas that lives next to my desk. Oh, here's my dog. Downstairs in my office. Periodically, I will be a little bit uninspired in terms of what to film, but I feel like filming something. So I will take a look through that list of video ideas. Today's video is by no means something that I started here on YouTube. There are a multitude of people who have done various versions of this video. So today will just be my version. So what am I talking about? I am talking about the most underrated, or perhaps at this point forgotten about makeup products. Really, I think most of these are probably products that at one time or another probably had some popularity in the beauty world and then just very quickly dropped off. But these are products that I myself absolutely adore, products that I have repurchased multiple times or have purchased more colors of, like in the case of blush. If I really like a blush formula, I will go back and over time just buy all the colors that float my boat. You know, mascara is obviously something that is repurchased probably the most frequently in terms of makeup products. So yeah, these are the things, and I have them sitting in front of me here, that I think are absolutely amazing makeup products that maybe nobody really talks about, or maybe people have forgotten about. You probably have some of these things in your collection. So this video is hopefully here to maybe encourage you to get those products out and start using them again. Or if you happen to be in the market for something new, we all know the Sephora fall sale is coming up, their fall savings event. So maybe, I think a few of these things are definitely available at Sephora. So if you'd like to pick them up, maybe you can get those on a discount then. But at any rate, without further ado, I will list and link everything in the description box right below this video. If you want to read up more about these products yourself, look at the ingredient deck, read other people's reviews, yada, yada, yada. That information is always down there. So let's get started. A few of these things are not going to come as a surprise for you, and I think the first one will be the most like, well, of course, duh. Of course you would pick this. It is my beloved Laura Geller Balance and Brighten. As someone who has been a loyal powder foundation user for probably actually a couple decades now, the very, very best powder foundation that I have ever found in terms of the finish, in terms of the wear, in terms of just how beautiful it looks on my skin, Laura Geller Balance and Brighten has always been the winner. The one fault that I do find with this particular line of powder foundation, however, is I wish that she would increase the shade range. It's quite limited, and honestly, I don't have an exact color match with Balance and Brighten. I have to adjust it using another powder product to kind of color correct. It is worth it to me, however, because of how this foundation wears on my skin. You might get lucky and you might find your exact shade match, in which case I'm really jealous. But for me, the Fair has been the very best fit. Porcelain, way too light. If you are extremely fair, you want to check out Laura Geller Porcelain, because that is that's probably going to suit you just fine. But for me, Fair has been the best possible option. I color corrected because I do have quite a bit of yellow in my skin, as you can see, and this is a pretty, I would say, neutral powder. I color correct it with something that has just a touch more yellow in terms of a finishing powder. That works just great for me. This product actually starts its life as a cream product that is dispensed onto these terracotta tiles, and then it is baked. So this is a baked powder foundation. It is, I cannot tell you how absolutely perfect this is on my skin. I love it. I will never stop harping about how amazing it is. And I really do wish more people would give it the old college try, because I think it would convert maybe a lot of people from liquid foundation, which I think oftentimes looks really heavy on the skin. It feels heavier on the skin. Yeah, I'm not a liquid foundation girl, so I will always be the advocate for powder foundation, and this will be my #1 recommendation. Okay, mascaras. Listen, I think that mascara is not necessarily something to spend like a ton of money on. Like typically the $40, $50 mascaras, every once in a while I'll splurge on one if there's really good reviews. However, for the most part, I try to stick in the like $20, $25 and under range when it comes to mascara, because I'm a big proponent of switching your mascaras out at bare minimum every 3 months. Ideally, you want to do it at around 8 weeks. It's just a breeding ground for bacteria. And as such, maybe it would be better for you to purchase the smaller sizes. That most mascaras now, at least high-end mascaras, do come out with like half sizes, if you will. And that might be a better fit for you overall if you are changing your mascara out regularly. This one does come in a smaller size, I believe. But I decided to pick up the Buxom. This is just their Buxom Lash Mascara. It comes in one color. It does come in waterproof as well if you need a waterproof, but there's one color. This particular mascara is one of my favorite, I guess, more expensive mascaras. If you're looking for drugstore, just check out CoverGirl mascaras. Honestly, for me, CoverGirl has been the best. Specifically, their Lash Blast and their Clump Crusher are my 2 favorites, although I recently purchased a new mascara from CoverGirl that I'm looking to try out, their Cleantopia Lash Blast. Have you guys heard of this? Anyway, it looks really beautiful because it's like a really dark blue shade, so we'll talk about that later. But back to this one here. I love the wand on this. Typically, I prefer the more traditional bristle wand instead of these more like plastic type ones. But this is the one plastic wand that I have fallen in love with. These little tiny spikes that come out really grab each individual lash and coat it perfectly and give you a really beautiful fanned out voluminous look without the clumps. Like this just does not clump up. Also, it doesn't smudge, it doesn't transfer. It wears pretty much all day long. There's no flaking. There's nothing wrong with this formula in my eyes, and honestly, it's been a while since I've purchased this, and as soon as I put it on my lashes after opening it for the first time, I was like, I have missed you. Why I haven't bought this in like months and months and months is beyond me, but I'm sold once again on this mascara. And if you like that particular lash look, that really separated but voluminous lash look without the clumps, without those like tarantula leg lash situations, you gotta try this one. It's beautiful, and there's nothing bad I can say about it. I love it. It removes really easily with both my Philosophy Purity as well as my Pharmacy Green Clean. Just, you know, a couple of gentle wipes around the eyes with either of those 2 products. Mascara is gone. Lashes are never damaged. Just fabulous. Okay, next. The Kevyn Aucoin Sculpting Powder. Now, I think back in the day, this was quite a big deal, especially once contour maybe kind of really started becoming a little bit more popular, but I really don't hear anyone mentioning this anymore, and it kind of breaks my heart because I think as far as contour powders go, the Kevyn Aucoin ones are the very best. First of all, they have the perfect amount of pigmentation, but I think their colors tend to lean a little bit cooler. I find that a lot of contour powders almost could be considered like a bronzer. They're just really warm, and I don't want warmth when I am trying to create depth on my face. So this is the contour powder that I use most days. I tend to use a little bit of a heavier hand with this than I maybe should sometimes, because I feel like on camera, contour just kind of fades away. But this is just the most beautiful matte finish. It has a cooler tone to it. I cannot tell you how many of these I have been through. Now, my preferred shade is medium, this one right here. I also have this in their light shoot, I guess I should have gotten that. So I have the light right here so you can take a look at it. Again, very cool tone. If you have a lighter skin tone than me, definitely go for the light. But for me, I actually prefer this medium. I just, again, have used this for so long and really don't see a lot of people talking about this. I see a lot of people favoring cream contour products these days, but as an oily skinned girl, I can't do cream products. They just don't work for me. And you know, I can keep trying different ones, but the result is usually always the same. I don't like the way cream products look on my skin. I don't like the way they feel on my skin. For me, powder's the way to go. I feel like it's the lightest option out there, and the more, I think it's more easy to blend a powder than it is a cream sometimes. So for me personally, this is a big fat winner. Okay. Next, we have specifically Hourglass blushes. Now, I have them in a multitude of different formats, including singles right here, but I love purchasing Hourglass blushes in their different palettes that they come out with. This was the very first one that I purchased. This was actually the first time that I tried Hourglass blushes. This is how I fell in love with them. This was a holiday release several years ago from Hourglass. This has Luminous Flush, Incandescent Electra, and Mood Exposure in it. Love these. I have used the heck out of this palette, and I still have yet to hit pan. I've definitely worn them down. If you're familiar with Hourglass products, you know they are like, they have like a slight domed look to them. I have worn these down so much, but I have still never hit pan, and I've been using this for years. I love this palette. I also love their ambient lighting edit unlocked palettes. So usually these come with a couple of blushes in here, then some of their ambient lighting powders as well. This one, for example, was released last year. This is the Butterfly one. I have one other one as well. Again, couple of blushes in here. Why do I love these blushes? One, I think they have the perfect amount of pigmentation. They're not like overly pigmented to where they can be difficult to blend out if you go in with a heavy hand. I feel like these are easy to blend out. They have just that touch of like that Hourglass glow to them. They are never chunky. They are never glittery. It allows me, as someone who's really afraid of like a more highlighted look, to actually be able to use a product like a more glowy blush without looking like I'm accentuating my pores. They hold up on my oily skin. That's really the biggest thing. My face can eat a blush within a matter of hours because of my oil production. These stay true to color on me. They have a gorgeous glow to them. I get that pop of color that I want. They're easy to blend. I just think they're absolutely beautiful, and I just don't hear enough people like praising the Hourglass blushes anymore, so I wanted to show them some love here. They're beautiful. They are more expensive than some other options that I also actually happen to enjoy, but they are so worth splurging on in my book. They are fabulous. Cannot recommend them enough, and if you have some in your collection, you should get them back out. All right, the last thing I want to recommend is actually also from Hourglass, and it is their Veil Eye Primer. I see a lot of people sharing that they just use concealer or like a MAC paint pot on their lids, which if that works for you, then that's great, but that's not enough for my... I have a really oily head. That sounds disgusting, but I have a lot of oil production all over this little head of mine, right? Like on my face, on my eyelids, on my head. It's just an oil factory. So for me, I cannot go without an eye primer, like a proper eye primer. I've tried a concealer in the past, man, that creased within minutes and like my eyeshadow was gone. Like it just faded into an oblivion. This eye primer is one of the few that doesn't make my eyes water. This was something that was happening to me for quite some time. It took me a while to figure out which eye primers were making my eyes water. For example, the Urban Decay, that one made my eyes extremely watery. The Too Faced Shadow Insurance did not, so there's another option. A lot of the drugstore ones from NYX, from MELANIEP, those made my eyes water. The NARS one made my eyes water, the Lorac. But this one here, the Veil Primer, not only does this provide some coverage for my lids, I do have a little bit of redness on there naturally. It has this really nice kind of like tint to it that will help to cover up a little bit of that discoloration on the lid, but a little bit goes a long way, and this makes my shadow look beautiful, and it makes it last all day long. Like I have fallen asleep with eyeshadow or just makeup on in general. I try not to do that very often. Sometimes it happens if I'm really tired. I can wake up the next morning and the eyeshadow is still intact because of this primer. So if you have extremely oily eyelids, this is probably mostly for just the oily skinned girls out there, but if you have extremely oily eyelids and before you've been using a concealer or maybe a paint pot and that just really isn't working for you, try this eye primer. First of all, this tube here lasted me forever. I've had this for probably way longer than I should based on the expiration date on the back. However, I am almost done with it at this point, and I will be repurchasing it at the upcoming Sephora sale. I think I'm gonna run out probably right before that sale starts, so it'll be perfect timing for me. I highly, highly recommend this if you've never tried it. And those folks are my most underrated products that I think should get a lot more love here on YouTube just in general, but I do also understand that there are so many personal preferences out there, and these are just based obviously off of my personal preferences. But if you tend to have a lot of the same issues that I do, maybe these products are worth looking into and trying out just to see if maybe you can find something that's a better fit for you. So speaking as someone who is extremely oily, these products all work really, really well for me. So please let me know what you think some of your most underrated products are that you have in your collection, that you just absolutely adore, that you don't see getting a lot of love out there, either here on YouTube or on TikTok, on Instagram. I mean, oh my gosh, beauty content is everywhere these days, right? And it's usually always like new, like here's the new stuff. But sometimes you might have something in your collection that's actually totally worth just sticking with instead of maybe trying something new. So anyway, let me know if you guys have any questions. I look forward to seeing what your underrated products are in the comments down below. I appreciate you being here. Give this video a thumbs up if you found it useful, entertaining. Subscribe if you're new, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.